Opening your helmet will blow out your internals, inducing instantaneous death.
That's one possible outcome.
It's been a while.
Actually, I'll just chill over here.
Gary, you have 6 minutes of oxygen left.
It can't be.
Ending 2019, I finally finished Season 2 of TBS's animated series, Final Space, and starting 2020, it's time you all know about it.
Chookity. Chookity.
Please, close. Okay, it's not fitting. It's not working.
Today we're diving deep into the origins and soundtrack of a series that was created by someone who inspired me to start this channel in the first place. Hopefully some of you have already heard of Balloon Shop. It was a YouTube channel famous for ridiculous short skits back in my early days of YouTube, and it was created by none other than Olan Rodgers.
And I'm a level 3 now. Yeah, my HP's been going up pretty steadily.
You're not up to my level. My power is over 9,000.
What? 9,000 of what?
Many people don't know that I actually voice Gary.
This is the real raw Gary. It's been eating me up inside, keeping the real raw Gary from you.
Well, since then, Olan Rodgers has opened up a soda parlor and made some short films, but after going on a hiatus, he reignited a project that would eventually become a YouTube 6-minute pilot titled Gary Space that would go on to be picked up by Warner Media's TBS.
It was called Gary Space, and it was terrible. I stopped after 3 episodes. Years passed. Legends became myth, and for 2,500 years, Gary Space lay dormant on my YouTube channel.
The story was about a pretty dumb but kind-hearted astronaut named Gary who would soon meet his sidekick and my favorite character, Mooncake. Both of whom are voiced by Olan and are very clearly inspired by Olan's funny, random, and usually lighthearted style of humor.
It's dangerous. It's life-threatening. We're probably gonna die. You got my back, little buddy.
He's a nobody. And I think the one redeeming quality about Gary's got a lot of heart.
And speaking of problems, maybe you should leave before you become one. As in now.
Or I could buy you a drink.
Really?
Let's get wild. How about you buy me a drink?
Mooncake, the little lovable, squishy alien who says, "Chookity bok."
Yes! Shoot the laser! Chookity. Shoot the laser! Chookity. Shoot the laser! Chookity. Shoot it! Shoot it! Shoot the laser!
Olan decided on a name change after the pilot was picked up for a complete series by TBS, and the show became Final Space instead of Gary Space. The story would continue into the vast unknown of outer space, following the classic boy and his dog TV trope, but the boy happened to be an idiot, and the dog is an adorable green thing that only says, I mean, think about it. You have this small-time YouTuber who is just passionate enough to take his creation and story all the way to TV broadcast. Not only is it inspiring, but that's how you know this show has a lot of heart going into it, and I think that's why I connected to it so much. I mean, I've been following this creator for a huge portion of my life, and to see a small, passionate creator succeed in the entertainment world, it just makes me so happy for him.
Like a thrift store Hollywood tycoon, I decided to reboot Gary Space into what is now Final Space. I said that pretty good, right? Right? How about you answer me?
Season 1 was amazing, and now Season 2 has me dying for a third, which hopefully you are as well if you've seen the series. And if you haven't heard the news, Season 3 has already been greenlit. I'm sure Olan and the team are already hard at work on it, and I'm sure we'll find out what happens to Gary and Quin. Just whatever you do, never let anything happen to Mooncake. So each episode of the series begins by counting down another minute of our main character, Gary Goodspeed's oxygen, as he floats through space with only a few minutes of oxygen left in his tank, slowly dying, and all of his friends are seemingly already dead. So the depressing tone is set very quickly in the series as we see the horrible outcome of Gary's future.
Gary, you have 2 minutes of oxygen left.
Can we Change that to something more cheerful.
Sure, Gary.
Cookies. Act like you're baking a big batch of cookies.
Gary, the cookies will be done in 2 minutes.
Oh. Fantastic.
And for a show with such cartoonish characters, the sudden violent humor, and a main character on the brink of death, you would think it was meant for something like Adult Swim. But while the show did air on Adult Swim, it was actually a TBS premiere show. And it was renewed for a second season that released last year. And now it's been renewed for a third, which has all the fans awaiting an entirely new adventure. No pressure, Olan. So our main character, Gary Goodspeed, is essentially jailed in space after destroying a bunch of things by trying to act cool in front of a girl he just fell in love with at first sight. So he spends day after day in outer space with an annoying robot named Kevin, who is supposed to stop him from going insane while he's in solitary, and also an AI that runs the ship and keeps the show grounded. His name is Hugh.
Hugh's kind of the parent who knows what they're doing, and sometimes Gary just disappoints him. Gary starts to rub off on Hugh a little bit, or have a sense of humor starts to come into play.
A cookie? For me?
Yes, Gary. Take 1. Cookie withdrawn.
All the while, Gary is sending the girl he likes video messages every single day, even though she has no idea who he is. And I can't help but think that the entire thing is inspired by Olan Rodgers' real-life experiences. Because from there, Gary essentially finds a family in several new shipmates, including a planet-destroying adorable alien, Mooncake, a talking space cat named Avacato, and a 6-eyed alien with a lisp, and the list just goes on and on. And on top of all that, they're at war with a Lord Commander who is a tiny villain you expect to be comic relief at first, but as soon as he ends up murdering someone right in front of you, it's obvious that he's a real threat to the show.
Where is it?
What?
E35-1.
I don't know.
And as the show progresses, we're led closer and closer to finding out the secret of final space. But I think through all of the comedy and insanity going on in the show, there's one thing that's the glue just holding it all together, and that's the soundtrack. Also Mooncake, but mostly the soundtrack. Now the show is in a constant state of humor, and that almost really hurt it in the long run, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, it was hilarious, but even in the saddest moments the show has been building to over all this time, 3 seconds later Gary would just say or do something funny that would almost just take you out of the drama. But this is where Final Space's soundtrack comes in. I don't know who was responsible for this decision, but the very slow piano that consistently ramps in to fill the emptiness of Gary floating through space, or the loss of a comrade, is a stark contrast to the unexpected, never-ending comedy. These sound designers seriously know how to set the tone of a series and evoke emotional attachment to these characters. Now I know that's really specific, but what I'm trying to say is Olan's enthrallingly epic voice combined with his constant sarcasm is somehow perfectly fit for a desolate and emotional soundtrack. This really soft piano, and it just maxes out the intensity and keeps you at the edge of your seat the entire time, feeling real emotion for these fictional characters. The real images taken from the Hubble telescope that the art director and animators used to model outer space deserved an epic soundtrack that made you feel the grim outlook that Gary is constantly faced with, and that you see at the beginning of every single episode as he's losing oxygen. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to explain, and that's why I would love for you all to give Final Space a chance. Just check out the first few episodes, because it's one of those series that hooks you over time. I want the series to keep on going, and for that, we all have to give it a chance. I started listening to Olan's podcast recently as well, and man, what a good guy. I think he deserves all of the success that's come his way, and I really do hope that the show continues for a few more seasons, because Olan and his personality are absolutely at the show's core and what makes the show so great and so lovable. Olan even has so many more ideas posted to his newer YouTube channel, and I think that they all have the potential to be made into full series, so I'm looking forward to what's next from him as well. If you are too, drop a like on this video, tell me in the comments what you thought of Final Space and where you think Season 3 is going, plus make sure to subscribe for what's to come. You can also join our guild Discord, that link will be in the description, and I'll see you all in the next one.
I hide there sometimes.